Alright, what's happening everybody? I'm your man Akeen and welcome to today's vlog. We are on the Gridiron Week 11 of the FBS season, here to give you the games of the week. But before I begin, I would like to talk about last night's matchup between Toledo and Western Michigan. Western Michigan and Toledo had a good grudge match when Toledo won 66-63. Toledo's second consecutive 60-point game, and they had a great victory. But I have to call out Alex Carter of the Western Michigan Broncos, their star quarterback. He had a humongous game. 548 yards passing and 7 touchdowns. I am definitely keeping an eye on him for this year's NFL draft, and I think everybody should keep an eye on this kid. This quarterback, he's a great quarterback, good arm. Definitely keep an eye out for this player. Now it's time for me to give you my games of the week, starting with tomorrow night's big matchup between Virginia Tech, at number 21, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech has a great run game. They had a big win last week. Virginia Tech is getting the ball rolling, especially with David Wilson in that backfield. He has 8 100 yards rushes this game, and he will be the X factor for this key matchup. He was the X factor last season, running off a 99-yard kickoff return, but now he's the premier back for the Hokies, and I think he's going to have a big game. I'm going to have to go with the Hokies in this matchup over Georgia Tech. Next, number 9, Clemson is at home against Wake Forest. Clemson, the last time we saw them, it was their loss against Georgia Tech. I think they're going to bounce back and go undefeated, looking forward for an ACC championship, and I think they're going to beat the Demon Deacons for this matchup. Next, number 2, Oklahoma State is going to travel to Texas Tech. This is going to be a great high passing offensive game, but I have to go with the Cowboys in this matchup because they have a better running attack, so I have to go with the Cowboys all the way, staying undefeated. Next, number 19, Nebraska is going to be traveling to Happy Valley to face the number 12 Penn State Lions. Penn State is undefeated in conference play, and I believe that Nebraska is a great team, and they should not have lost last week to Northwestern. I think they're going to bounce back and beat Penn State at Happy Valley. Penn State has been dealing with a lot of off-the-field issues with this big sex scandal, in which I did tell you I was going to keep you posted on that. Joe Paterno is on his final year of his contract. That's a little bit of a distraction for the Nittany Lions. Plus, he's had to be investigated for this sex scandal with Jerry Sandusky being accused of sexually abusing and going after younger kids during football camps at Penn State. And this is going to be a huge distraction for the Nittany Lions. And I think the Nebraska Cornhuskers is just going to take advantage of these distractions and win at Happy Valley. Next, Florida is going to face number 13, South Carolina. South Carolina, the last time we saw them, they fell to Arkansas. I think they're going to bounce back. Connor Shaw suffered a concussion last week, but he should start this week and give you a good offensive show, especially with Brandon Wilds in the backfield. He had a big game against Tennessee, 137 yards rushing, and last season we saw Marcus Lattimore had a humongous game at the Swamp against the Gators. I think Wilds is going to have a good game for this matchup. I'm going to have to go with the Gamecocks next. Next game I need to talk about, number 16, Texas. My Texas Longhorns is going to travel to Missouri. Missouri quarterback James Franklin has matured a lot this season. He's a true leader. I'm going to have to go with another upset. I picked Nebraska over Penn State as an upset. And this game I have to go with another upset, Missouri over Texas, because Missouri was able to stop the run a couple of times this season, and that's pretty much what Texas all they have. They have not shown great performances from their quarterbacks, David Ash and Case McCoy. Plus the maturity of James Franklin and this explosive offense with Josie, TJ Moe. They have a lot of weapons offensively, and I think this is going to be a big game for the Tigers at home. I think they're going to beat my Texas Longhorns. Next, number 17, Michigan State is going to be traveling to Iowa. Iowa Hawkeyes beat Michigan last week, but they're facing a tougher Michigan State team. Michigan State only has 1 loss in conference play, and they're trying to remain the front runners for that Legends division and stay undefeated for the rest of the season to make it to that Big Ten championship. I'm going to have to go with the Spartans in this matchup because they really need this win. Next, a Big East game between Pitt at Louisville. Louisville's defense averages 18.5 points per game, and plus they had a great game last week in an upset win over West Virginia. I think they're going to prevail at home this week, so I'm going to have to go with the Cardinals. Next, this game is pretty much going to decide the Mountain West Championship between number 5 Boise State at home against TCU. Both these teams have good offenses. I'm going to have to go with Kellen Moore and the Broncos. They need to stay undefeated, and I have a lot of faith in them. I think they will make it to a BCS game, a BCS bowl match, maybe a national championship. Hopefully, I doubt it, but but they still have a chance, and I think Kellen Moore's going to have a big game boosting up his Heisman Trophy status. So I'm going to have to go with Kellen Moore and the Broncos. Next, another upset I have this week, Texas A&M at number 14, Kansas State. It's going to be at Manhattan, but I believe this Texas Aggie team is a lot better than what we have been seeing this season. Now, there's some bad news for Texas A&M. Texas A&M is going to have to play without Christian Michael, who's tore his ACL, and he'll be out for the rest of the season. Again, last season he broke his leg. This season he tore his ACL. But they still have Cyrus Gray, who stepped up last season and had big explosive matchups for the rest of the season for the Aggies last year. And I think he's going to have a good game this year. The real key for the Aggies for this matchup is that they have to stay competitive for the entire game. They have to do that in order to beat this Wildcat team. This Wildcat team is very disciplined, wise team, and I think this is going to be a great matchup. But I have to go with the Aggies for the upset. Next, an in-state rivalry between Miami and Florida State. Florida State has a 4-game winning streak. E.J. Manuel is back. He's having a couple of big games leading this team, and I'm going to have to go with the Florida State Seminoles over Miami. Miami is still a good team with Lamar Miller and Jacoby Harris, but I'm going to have to go with Florida State because they have too much talent offensively and on the defensive side. Next, a Pac-12 matchup between Washington at USC. USC is going to start running back Curtis McNeil, who had a big game last week against Stanford Cardinals, a close overtime loss to Stanford, and I think he could have a good game. They have a lot of talent. Plus, Washington, you need to look out for Chris Polk, the star running back of the Huskies. This is going to be a good grudge match, but since it's at USC, a tough environment, a hostile environment, I'm going to have to go with the Trojans over Washington. Next, a good SEC matchup between number 20 Auburn at number 15 Georgia. Georgia is the leader of the SEC East with just one loss. If they lose again, they'll be tied up with South Carolina, and South Carolina has the tiebreaker. Isaiah Cole is going to be starting this week. He was suspended last week due to a violation of team rules, and he will be starting this week. He will be back for the Bulldogs. I'm going to have to go with the Bulldogs in this game because they really need this win to stay ahead of the SEC East and try to make it to the SEC Championship. Now, my game of the week. Big game this week between two pivotal offenses, versatility on both sides of the field, on the offense and defensive side. Number 7 Oregon against number 4 Stanford. Stanford is undefeated and they're on a 17-game winning streak, but they're facing a tough Oregon team, and I think their Oregon defense is a little underrated. They had a great game last week at Washington, holding them to just 17 points and holding Chris Polk, their star running back, to just 80 yards rushing, under 4 yards per carry, and I think this team is going to beat Stanford. They both have great offenses. We all know about LaMichael James, Darren Thomas for Stanford, and Stephen Taylor and Andrew Luck for Stanford, and LaMichael James and Darren Thomas for Oregon. This is going to be a great matchup. It's going to be a high-scoring game, but I think the defense is going to stop the run game for Stanford, and they really need to run the football in order to beat the Ducks at home. I think the Ducks is going to ruin the Stanford season and spoil their year of making it to that national championship and having Oregon go to the Pac-12 championship, just ruining Stanford's season to make it to that national championship. But this is going to be a great matchup, so I'm going to have to go with the Oregon Ducks in this one because they just have an explosive offense, and I think they're going to stop the run defensively, and that is key for Stanford in this matchup. Now, the next time I'm going to catch you guys is on Monday to recap Week 11 of the college football season. Thank you for watching today's vlog from Sports News Insider. I'm your boy, Keen McCall. Be easy.